We've all been there, right? A simple little miscommunication at work just spirals, and suddenly you're in a full-blown conflict. Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive into a really powerful framework that's designed to transform those tense moments into opportunities for real connection.
Okay, so let's set the scene. You've got a deadline breathing down your neck. You ask a colleague to update a crucial presentation deck by EOD. End of day rolls around and nothing. It's such a classic everyday kind of problem.
So you follow up, right? Maybe you sound a little stressed, and bam! Suddenly you're caught in this tense back and forth. They're feeling attacked, you're getting frustrated, and the one thing that actually needs to happen, that deck, is totally stuck in limbo.
Yeah, I thought so. If that feels familiar, you are so not alone. Most conflicts don't start with some big explosion. They start small, with simple misunderstandings that get bigger and bigger because we're just missing the language to talk about what's really going on.
This is where something called Nonviolent Communication, or NVC, comes in. Think of it as a totally new way to talk, and maybe even more importantly, a new way to listen. The goal here isn't to win the argument or prove you're right. It's all about creating a real connection where everyone's needs get heard.
And this quote from NVC's founder, Marshall Rosenberg, it gets right to the heart of it. The idea is that all of our actions, even the ones that look like anger or defensiveness, are really just our attempts to get some universal human need met. And that idea right there, it changes everything.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting and maybe a little counterintuitive. Resolving a conflict with someone else doesn't actually start with you talking to them. Nope, it starts by looking inward. The very first, most critical step is something NVC calls self-empathy.
You know, before you can really get what someone else is going through, you have to get clear on your own stuff first. Self-empathy is all about hitting the pause button and just listening to that chatter in your own head without judgment so you can figure out what's really driving you in that moment.
So how do you actually do it? Well, first, just stop. Take a breath. It sounds so simple, but it breaks that knee-jerk reaction. Second, you gotta notice those judgy thoughts that are screaming in your head. You know, they're so lazy, or I have to do everything myself. And then you dig a little deeper. What are the actual feelings under those thoughts? And what unmet need is causing those feelings? Getting that clarity is absolutely key before you open your mouth.
Okay, once you've got that inner clarity, now you're ready to talk. And NVC gives you this amazing toolkit to do it. It's built on 4 specific pieces: observations, feelings, needs, and requests. Let's break them down.
First up, observation. This is all about being a video camera, not a film critic. You're just reporting the facts, what you actually saw or heard, without any judgment. See, you drop the ball is an evaluation. It's going to make anyone defensive. But I noticed the report wasn't finished by the deadline. That's just a fact. It's so much easier for someone to hear.
Next, we have feelings, and the trick here is to share your actual internal emotion. I feel frustrated is a real feeling, but you got to watch out for what are called faux feelings. Things like, I feel ignored. See, that's not really a feeling. It's a thought about what you think someone else is doing to you. It's basically an accusation dressed up like an emotion, and it just creates distance.
Now, our feelings are always connected to our needs. Needs are these universal things we all want, like reliability, support, respect. And here's the huge insight. We almost never fight about our needs. We fight about our strategies to meet those needs. I need you to finish the report now. It's just one strategy to get reliability. It's not the need itself.
And finally, we have the request. And this is simple. A real request is an invitation. The other person has to be able to say no. If they can't say no without some kind of punishment, well, that's not a request anymore. That's a demand. And demands just crush any hope of connection.
Okay, that was all the theory. So now, let's put it all together. We're going to go back to our missed deadline mess and see how this whole toolkit can completely change the conversation. So here's the full playbook. Step 1, you do that self-empathy thing to get your head on straight. Step 2, you express yourself honestly using those 4 components. But then, step 3 is the superpower. You listen with empathy. You try to guess the feelings and needs behind their words. Then, and only then, can you both move on to finding a real solution that works for everybody.
So instead of leading with that accusation that's basically guaranteed to start a fight, you make a pivot. You're going to start the conversation by just sharing your own experience using this framework, which makes it way less likely to make them defensive.
So here it is in action. Listen to how all 4 parts are in there. It's honest, it's clear, and there's zero judgment. You state the fact, you own your feeling, you clarify what you need, and you make a real request. You're opening a door for a conversation instead of slamming it shut with blame.
And that really gets to the biggest shift that NVC offers. It totally reframes what conflict is. It's not a battle you have to win anymore. It becomes this incredible opportunity for understanding each other better and solving problems together.
And when teams actually start using this stuff, the results are amazing. Relationships get stronger. There's way less tension. People actually become more self-aware. Communication just works better, which means better teamwork, better morale, the whole shebang. You're moving from pointing fingers to solving problems.
So I'll just leave you with this question to chew on. What would change for you if, in your next disagreement, your goal wasn't to be right, but just to understand?